Joining me now, Nathan Sales, former ambassador at large and counterterror coordinator under Trump, and Richard Goldberg, former director for countering Iranian weapons of mass destruction at the NSC under Trump. Nathan, let's start with you. Now, knowing who's leading us in this time of international peril, what are our options here?
Well, I think the only option is the option that works, and that is peace through strength. We need to show Iran that they have a lot more to lose by poking at us than they have to gain. And unfortunately, what we've heard from the administration is tough talk, but not a whole lot of action to match those words. You know, in the past week, I think we've seen 8. Honestly, Laura, I've actually lost track of how many. About 8 attacks by Iranian proxies on American forces. One of them actually resulted in the death of a U.S. civilian contractor. And the response has been tough talk, but no actions. That is not going to scare Iran off. And if we want to avoid being drawn into a major conflict in the Middle East, the best way to accomplish that is to demonstrate strength to Iran so that they decide they're going to sit this one out on the sidelines.
Now, Richard, the Biden team gave what seemed to be conflicting answers over the last 24 hours or so about this threat of an escalation. Watch this.
We are concerned. In fact, we expect that there's a likelihood of escalation by Iranian proxies directed against our forces, directed against our personnel.
Right now, we don't see an indication that a major player is willing to escalate in a major way.
So they're clearly, at odds with each other here. So what kind of message does that send, Richard?
Well, we've seen nothing but mixed signals from the administration for days now. On the one hand, they say they're moving more ships into the region to deter Iran. On the other hand, they haven't ended the nuclear understanding they have with Iran. We still have billions of dollars being made available to Iran, not just in Qatar that you mentioned, the $6 billion, but $10 billion in Oman that was made available previously. We're also seeing oil shipments go from Iran to China, nothing to crack down on those. And so you start leaking over the weekend to the New York Times, we're going to constrain Israel, we don't want escalation. Who's the party here that's afraid? Is it Iran or is it the United States? You could say that we're trying to deter, but as Nathan just said, when you don't even respond, when your forces are coming under attack and you're signaling that sanctions relief is going to continue, who's being deterred here? It's not the Iranians, it's us.
Well, one thing, Nathan, that we saw today, Axios had a big scoop about a Marine 3-star is in Israel advising the military there on the ground operation in Gaza. Now, is that something that we should be applauding in the United States? Or given, again, the track record of this leadership with what we saw in Afghanistan, is this going to make us feel better? Or is this a dangerous game that's being played?
Well, Laura, I think in this case, the military deserves the benefit of the doubt. The cooperation between the United States and Israel is first rate, particularly when it comes to counterterrorism. So I want our intelligence community, I want our military professionals to be talking to their Israeli counterparts to help them meet their objectives going into Gaza to eradicate Hamas. Now, it's more difficult for them to do their jobs when they hear conflicting signals coming out of the White House. Well, on the one hand, the White House says we support Israel. On the other hand, there's stories about how the White House is trying to slow roll the Israelis, delay the onset of the offensive in Gaza. That is sending confusing signals to our allies. But just as importantly, it's sending confusing signals to our adversary, Iran. And Iran is going to try and exploit that to our detriment.
Now, Richard, I want to play a soundbite from Lindsey Graham, who has been probably the biggest war hawk out there on what's happening in the Middle East, and his comment yesterday.
We're here today to tell Iran we're watching you. If this war grows, it's coming to your backyard. There won't be 2 fronts, there'll be 3. If there's an effort to unleash Hezbollah on the Jewish state to destroy it, my attention will be to Tehran. If these innocent hostages get slaughtered, I hold you, Iran, accountable because you could stop it if you chose to.
Now, Richard, we all want the hostages released immediately, and we want Israel to be protected and Israel to be as strong and democratic as ever. But Lindsey Graham is not the Pentagon chief, nor is he working in the executive branch. And I think this is very confusing for a lot of people watching this out there, that now Lindsey Graham is running our military policy. Maybe that's a good thing, given how they've screwed up so much on the other side. But your thoughts on that?
I think we're doing a lot of showing, and we're doing a lot of telling and not showing. And usually Israel and the United States are really good at show instead of telling. In other words, we don't want to just have rhetoric, right? We don't want to just say, oh, we're going to really beat you if you do this. And you hear that out of the Israelis right now. You're hearing that out of the Americans. How about we actually respond when our bases are attacked? How about we actually restore deterrence? How about we snap back the Security Council resolution to restore the UN missile embargo that the president allowed to expire last week? How about you actually stop the billions of dollars from flowing to Tehran?
Yes.
So I don't want to keep talking about conflict and military. I want to show deterrence. I want to actually restore deterrence.
But Nathan, meanwhile, we have Qatar's involvement with the hostage negotiations, which again, and I'm going to get into this in the angle in a little bit, but to me, again, we seem like backbenchers when we really either should be really involved and it should be scary to the other side, or we should let Israel do what Israel does best, frankly.
Well, I think that's exactly right. We know that Iran does not lash out in the face of American strength. What we have seen time and again is that Iran escalates in response to American weakness. You know, going back to the Trump administration, we drew a red line, one that, unlike our predecessor, we actually enforced. And we said to Iran, if you harm an American, if you kill an American, we're going to make you pay. And that's exactly what President Trump did when he ordered the removal of the terrorist Qasem Soleimani, who, by the way, had the blood of 603 American soldiers on his hands. How did Iran respond? We didn't see World War III break out. We didn't see further escalation from Iran. They launched a couple of missiles, and then they meekly went back to their corner. There's a lesson there. Strength deters Iran, and weakness is provocative.
Yeah, none of this was happening under Trump on panel. Thank you.